What is the craziest conspiracy theory you have ever heard? It has become a pretty mainstream conspiracy theory that many politicians, billionaires, and celebrities are participating in a massive child sex trafficking ring. It is a more tangential conspiracy theory that they're actually torturing and murdering kids to drink their blood for adrenochrome because it gets them high, or acts as a performance-enhancing drug for their lifestyles. But what if shutting down Epstein's Island cut off their supply of the good stuff, and now they have to drink more and more blood to get the same high? Blood is very rich in ferrous iron, Fe2. The symptoms of iron poisoning are dizziness, shortness of breath, fatigue, aches, seizures. Exactly the same as COVID. What if coronavirus, real or fake, is just to mask the symptoms of our child-molesting vampire overlords? Coronavirus, Fe2 poisoning, COV, Fifi, Kofifi. I recently came across this theory. While completely outlandish at this point in the timeline, would it shock you? No, it would not. The show Sesame Street is an attempt to brainwash American kids into communist Soviet sleeper agents. I watched it quite a bit and I believe I turned out just fine. We believe we turned out just fine, comrade. There was no Cold War in reality. It was just a cover for two allies to build super advanced militaries to prepare for alien invasion. Their mammoth nuclear arsenals are not meant for each other. This is all continuing even today, and North Korea doesn't exist, it's just a black site off the paper testing ground for Russian-American super advanced weapons and technologies. Yes, how outlandish. Where can I read more? Craziest. Dragons existed and you can see their skeletons in the topography of the earth. Basalt structures in the desert are actually the remaining stumps of ancient massive trees, tags in with the giant trees of Lebanon. Reptilians. Obviously. Greys are actually time-traveling humans from the future. Nazis escaped to Antarctica, and UFOs are actually their advanced spacecraft. The moon is a hologram, monsieur. The moon is actually an alien satellite that was placed in its orbit around Earth. Saturn is a transmitter for signals from extraterrestrial civilizations. YouTube is a great place to spend your time delving down the rabbit holes. For a sec I read gays are time-traveling humans. The moon is a hologram, monsieur. Vegeta made it after Piccolo blew it up. My mother-in-law thought President Obama was in ISIS. She thought that the President of the United States was a member of a fundamentalist terrorist organization. My mom explained to me that Obama was actually the Antichrist. It must be a difficult schedule to keep, being a Nazi communist ISIS founder who's also the Antichrist. Lizard people are good with time management, don't worry. The McMartin preschool investigation. Accusation include children being flushed down toilets, animals sacrifices in front of them, secret underground tunnels, kids being flown to Mexico and back before the end of the school day, the teacher flying on a broom, kids being severely beaten, parents didn't see these injuries, and large amounts of photos and videos of children engaging in sex acts. No physical evidence was ever located. The mother who first brought the accusations of abuse to the police had schizophrenia and was severely alcoholic. The police eventually decided she was not reliable and stopped listening to her. The case was built entirely on statements of small children who would get scolded during interrogations for saying nothing happened and praised for saying something did. One of the kids identified Chuck Norris as one of the abusers. Some people still claim the accused are guilty. I stopped believing it. Chuck Norris. No one survives abuse from Chuck Norris. Paul McCartney died and was replaced by a look-alike years ago. Wasn't Avril Lavigne also replaced by a look-alike? Why'd they have to make things so complicated? I see the way ya did that. 5G causes coronavirus. I read it on the interwebs. Do some research, you idiot. Humans lived on Mars but ruined the ecosystem, so they took a ship and crash-landed on Earth, and that was the meteorite that took it. The dinosaurs. There's a theory that everything in the Bible that is pre-Noah took place on Mars, and Noah's Ark was a spaceship to Earth. That would make a great movie, and it was Earth all along. For our generation, a friend of mine is a gold mine for these. He's a flat earther, anti-vax, and believes tap water has fluoride to control the population. But his craziest one, I think, is he doesn't even believe in basic molecular science. I recall an actual conversation we had where he said, "I just can't see why you guys would believe there are tiny spheres that everything is made of. How would you know it's true if you can't see it?" Quote, "I'm guessing the schools he attended are very proud. He was elected most likely to wake up the sheeple in high school after all. That Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka. You take it back. This one is true. Spam was made so that the aliens that live here could eat. Apparently it's the only thing they can digest properly. Bat shit. So Hawaii is home to the most aliens. According to Lilo and Stitch, yes, it is. COVID-19 is actually created by a small group of refugee aliens who want to enslave humans and reign over Earth. Isn't that literally the X-Files plotline with the smoking man and the bees? And now murder hornets are killing bees. Coincidence? I think not. The Chinese put mind-altering chemicals in the plastic bands of ball caps so that when Americans wear them backwards, the chemicals cause them to do crazy things. I thought they were just being themselves. Flat Earthers takes the cake by a mile. Being adult is more fun. My brother-in-law is convinced that Obama and Osama are the same person, and that the supposed body of bin Laden was dumped in the ocean to prevent anyone from running DNA tests on it to prove it was a charade. While not strictly conspiracy theories, other gems include, there's a nuclear reactor under the Pentagon. He knows because the CIA contracted him to break in. He got all the way to the reactor itself before revealing himself to a camera, then told them, figure it out when asked how he did it. The military confiscated all his money in a literal aircraft hangar full of exotic cars when he quit the very special forces. They're still trying to find him, but they haven't because he's better than they are. He wired an entire military base with explosives literally nobody can find. If he calls a secret phone number, it'll start timers on the bombs and a timer on Rumsfeld's desk. It was during GW's term, so Rumsfeld was SecDef at the time. Airwolf is real. The TV show was made as propaganda to make anyone exposing the truth sound like a conspiracy nut. He invented disc replacement surgery when he got shot in the military by cutting up a patch of Kevlar and telling the doctor to implant it. Belichick was ordered by the NFL to throw Super Bowl 52 as penance for deflating footballs. Deflating footballs was a conspiracy. They didn't actually do it. The other team owners paid off the NFL out of jealousy because they win so often. In a way, I feel bad for him because he does have a proper diagnosis of PTSD. And chances are he was actually military in his early 20s, which would have been around the time of Desert Storm. So as a result, what's really going on is the trauma has left him unable to separate fantasy from reality. I like that one theory actually directly contradicts the entire basis of another one. Titanic didn't sink. It was Olympic. Basically both ships were made at same time. But Olympic had little defect and they decided to just switch logos and send Olympic as Titanic so they wouldn't have to pay to people or pay repair. I kind of believe this to a point because on pictures taken of Titanic when people went to find it, you can see letters M and P on the side where it said Titanic. My mom. Apparently every living, breathing moment of my life is spent planning on stabbing a knife in her back. Among other things, stabbing a knife in her back means I intentionally made them but me a bicycle knowing I wouldn't use it. I am not a person to ride without a destination. And where the fuck do Jay go during a pandemic? I am intentionally not in a relationship and don't have many friends to make her life harder. I lie the moment I open my mouth. I am kinda at fault here. But damn it, I was 12 and terrified. Was I supposed to admit to shit? The list goes on with petty bullshit and some things I fucked up in the past that she is now using to make me feel guilty. She twists every little thing she can to make me seem as some sort of demon that lives only to torture her until she dies. At which point I will be satisfied with life. Sorry for the terrible, depressing post, people. I just needed to post this shit somewhere to let some steam off. Jesus, you need CPS. Nah man. I've waited patiently for 17 years. I'm finishing high school and college and booking it out of there. Probably Ireland, so that I don't get caught by the cops. I believe we have a set law where a child must take care of their elderly parents for about 2 years. Or something. So I guess I'd just send cash to dad. WTF kind of country do you come from? If it makes you feel better. It doesn't sound like a country that would have strong extradition treaties. I dunno, might have been made up. My mom told me about it. You don't know what country you live in? He doesn't know if it's a real law or a lie his mom told. More roundabouts are being put in by millennials to spite the older generation and take away their driving freedom, monsieur, said by an old person talking to Another One at the gas station after almost causing an accident in a nearby roundabout. Guy just stopped in the roundabout to let people in. Big truck behind him had to slam hard on brakes. I just continued pumping my gas as the guy rambled on. Roundabouts are nice as long as they're done right. I never understand why some rural areas in the Midwest put 3 right in a row when almost no one is around, probably to try and prevent people speeding down nearly empty streets. I read online that Epstein killed himself. The universe is a giant alien brain that's dying. You know, I kind of like this one. We're all just the result of dying neurons or synapses decaying in someone's mind as they die. I think I'll save this one till my husband is good and stoned and then lay it on him and blow his mind. You've seen that the universe as a whole looks scarily like neurons and brain cells? It helps drive home the point. I always thought of this as a reaction of all the matter in the universe to gravity. There is this thing called gravity points where if you run a certain simulation I think it'll work. But I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the Elder Scrolls lore is that the entire universe is a dream in the mind of a god. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.